This thing looks like it's being held up by rope of some sort. There is the offbeat possibility that maybe the craft that holds everything up is invisible.
Something odd is happening in the sky, but what exactly is it? Sightings of UFOs evoke wonder and fear in people regardless of their beliefs regarding extraterrestrial life. Numerous reports have come in about UFOs, and assertions have been made that alien spaceships have crashed. The United States has spent decades investigating mysteries. What do a mile-long strobe light, a Tic Tac-shaped UFO without wings, and a saucer all have in common? Each one is inexplicable. The government has occasionally allowed popular excitement over the idea of aliens to take root, rather than explaining when UFO sightings were actually just top-secret planes. However, UFOs have recently been in the spotlight when the United States military experienced a near miss with an alien spaceship and subsequently panicked. What have we learned from the government's decades-long probe into UFOs? Where on Earth have the most UFO sightings recently been reported? Let's find out. The military provided only partial accounts of what happened, sowing decades of conspiracy theories and a tourism industry that grew up around Roswell as the site of an alien crash landing. A top-secret U.S. military balloon designed to spy on the Soviet nuclear program crashed in the desert close to Roswell, New Mexico, in the summer of 1947. Since then, despite overwhelming evidence that no spacecraft have touched down or crash-landed, Americans' obsession with alien visitation has been difficult to overcome. A couple of Air Force investigations that sought to be transparent about the Roswell experiments after the Cold War did little to dispel any notion that extraterrestrial life might exist. It seems unlikely that anything will be resolved by the government's most recent report on UFOs, or what the Pentagon now prefers to call unexplained aerial phenomena. After World War II, there was an abrupt rise in inexplicable reports, which marked the beginning of the contemporary age of UFO sightings and investigations. A rival nation's threat from UFOs was a concern for American leaders when the Cold War with the Soviet Union began. They did not necessarily envision encountering extraterrestrials during their research. Although there have never been any alien invasions, there are constantly new sightings and investigations into those reports. Over a period of 20 years, the U.S. UFO encounters were recorded by the Air Force as part of Project Blue Book, which is now well known. These include any lights, objects, or anomalous radar readings that have been reported by military or civilian pilots, weather watchers, astronomers, or other sources. The research was abandoned in 1969 after a University of Colorado study found no proof that UFOs originated from other planets, and that the majority of sightings could be accounted for by natural phenomena or even hoaxes. The study's principal investigator, Edward U. Condon, stated, "Our general conclusion is that nothing has come from the study of UFOs in the past 21 years that has added to scientific knowledge." He declared that further examination cannot be justified. Nevertheless, reports of sightings and stories persisted, sometimes to the chagrin of the initial investigators. The inquiry was based at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where the Air Force said in a 1985 fact sheet that there are not now and never have been any extraterrestrial visitors or equipment. The curiosity in UFOs has persisted notwithstanding the Condon study. In order to find out what was known about the encounters, so-called ufologists spent the following few decades submitting open records requests to federal organizations. It takes a lot for vehicles to pull over to the side of the road and stare up at the sky. But that is exactly what happened on July 14, 2001, on the New Jersey Turnpike. They watched the odd orange and yellow lights in a V configuration over the Arthur Kill Waterway between Staten Island, New York, and Carteret, New Jersey, for about 15 minutes soon after midnight. Lieutenant Daniel Tarrant of the Carteret Police Department and other metro area residents from Fort Lee, New Jersey, close to the George Washington Bridge and the Throgs Neck Bridge on Long Island, were among the witnesses. A group called the New York Strange Phenomena Investigators claimed to have received FAA radar data that verified the UFO sightings from that night. Initially, air traffic controllers denied that any airplanes, military jets, or space trips could have created the unusual lights. A mysterious craft was spotted on radar on November 14, 2004, by the USS Princeton, a ship of the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group, 100 miles off the coast of San Diego. The crew had been monitoring UFOs that first appeared at 80,000 feet before descending to hover directly above the Pacific Ocean for 2 weeks. 2 USS Nimitz FA-18F fighter fighters initially observed what seemed to be churning water with an oval-shaped shadow beneath the surface when they landed in the vicinity. A white item in the shape of a Tic Tac appeared over the sea a little while later. It lacked any outward indication of an engine, wings, or windows, and infrared detectors showed no sign of exhaust. Strike Fighter Squadron 41's Black Aces. Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Jim Slate made an effort to intercept the craft, but it accelerated away and reappeared on radar at a distance of 60 miles. It traveled at a speed that was greater than double that of fighter jets, and 3 times the speed of sound. At Chicago's O'Hare International Airport, Flight 446 was preparing to depart for North Carolina, when a United Airlines employee on the tarmac spotted a dark gray metallic craft hovering over Gate C-17. On that particular day, November 7, 2006, 12 United workers in all, as well as a few onlookers outside the airport, saw the saucer-shaped object at approximately 4:15 p.m. According to the witnesses, it lingered for almost 5 minutes before launching skyward and piercing a hole in the clouds, allowing mechanics and pilots to view the clear sky. The news article gained international attention and quickly rose to the top of the Chicago Tribune's website's most read stories list. The FAA, however, dismissed the UFO as a weather phenomenon and chose not to look into it because it was not picked up by radar. The majority of Stephenville, Texas is known for its dairy farms. Yet on the evening of January 8, 2008, many of its residents witnessed something unusual in the sky. Stephenville is a small town located 100 miles southwest of Dallas. White lights were reportedly seen over Highway 67, initially in a single horizontal arc and later in vertical parallel lines, according to witnesses. The strobe lights, according to local pilot Steve Allen, spanned about a mile long and a half-mile wide, and they were moving at a speed of roughly 3,000 miles per hour. Nobody heard any noise. Witnesses said the incident was similar to the 1997 Phoenix Lights sightings. Although the U.S. Many residents of Stephenville didn't trust the Air Force's claim that F-16s were flying in the Brownwood military operating areas because they thought what they saw was too technologically advanced for present-day human capabilities, which was ultimately confirmed weeks later. Throughout the year 2014, Navy pilots reported sightings of unidentified objects that were capable of reaching high altitudes and hypersonic speeds around Florida and Virginia. They also recorded these encounters on film. In 2014, one pilot reported a near collision. The general public was mostly unaware of these incidents and investigations up until December 2017. The Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Initiative, a U.S. government-funded initiative that looked into unexplained flying objects between 2007 and 2012, was made public in 2017 by a number of news outlets. The world's interest in UFOs and aliens was revived by the 2017 disclosure that the U.S. government was conducting active UFO research. Science reality has replaced what was formerly termed science fiction. Luis Elizondo, a military intelligence official, oversaw the operation, which collaborated closely with Bigelow's aerospace research enterprise. An interaction between an FA-18 Super Hornet with an unidentified aerial phenomenon was shown in a film that surfaced after information regarding the Advanced Aviation Threat Identification Program leaked in 2017. The object, which was seen off San Diego in 2004, was seen along the East Coast by a Raytheon Advanced Targeting Forward-Looking Infrared Pod as a fast-moving white oval about 45 feet long without wings or an exhaust plume. At 25,000 feet above the Atlantic Ocean, the pilots followed the object as it flew away and spun on its axis. No justification was ever offered. The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force was established by the Pentagon in August 2020 to improve its understanding of and gain insight into the nature and origins of the mysterious objects. The Navy later confirmed footage of strange objects buzzing American warships close to California in April 2021. Meanwhile, Las Vegas has been rocked by enigmatic UFO sightings and purported contacts with extraterrestrial entities. A householder then reported the appearance of 100% not human beings on their property in a recent event that was caught on body cam video by the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. The encounter began with a suspected UFO circling the night sky. The object's flash was apparently seen as far away as California. A further resident living close to Area 51 made a terrifying 911 call about two unidentified creatures on their property after seeing a similar thing come down from the sky about 39 minutes later. The resident stated that these beings were definitely alien, saying that one of the entities was about 8 feet tall and that it had wide eyes and a massive mouth. The homeowner emphasized that they were genuinely afraid and that this was not a joke. Responding cops' anxiety about the circumstance was seen on their body cameras. One of the officers acknowledged having butterflies in his stomach and felt anxious because they had just witnessed a shooting star and had to deal with tales of aliens on someone's lawn. The witness's statement was confirmed by an officer, who said that their partner had also seen something fall from the sky, heightening the mystery. There was no fresh information found after a thorough examination of the area and speaking with additional witnesses. Even though they had previously been doubtful, the witnesses now stated their belief in what they had witnessed. Even though the case has since been closed, the police kept looking into the property for a few days after the occurrence. These frightening occurrences took place in the wake of recent allegations made by an Air Force veteran and intelligence official that the U.S. government has covertly been gathering complete alien spacecraft as part of a multi-year UFO retrieval effort. The citizens of Las Vegas are in awe of the strange UFO sightings and purported contacts with non-human beings. The reason for these unusual phenomena continues to elude explanations despite ongoing research. Whatever is going on up there is still not fully understood. In June 2023, the DNI published a follow-up report that included an additional 510 sightings, of which 171 were still unsolved. The unidentified craft in those circumstances frequently seems to have displayed remarkable flight characteristics or performance abilities. The most shocking claim was made in a whistleblower report by a former intelligence employee named David Grush, who claimed that the U.S. government was in possession of intact and partially intact vehicles from UFO crash sites. He claimed that the ship had non-human origins. However, he also asserted that he had never personally observed the objects, which aroused the doubt of outside specialists. Even when there isn't enough evidence, there are still questions, sightings, and investigations. When it comes to disclosing what it knows about extraterrestrial life, the U.S. government has a notoriously secretive reputation. However, the Department of Defense just published a new document outlining the world's UFO hotspots in what may be an effort to increase transparency. Based on reports from between 1996 and 2023, a map is included that shows the locations where unidentified object sightings have been reported the most frequently. The map was released soon after the Pentagon's top official acknowledged that hundreds of enigmatic objects have been observed all over the world. We see them, metallic orbs, all across the planet, and we see these making really fascinating-seeming movements, said Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, head of the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, AARO. According to reports between 1996 and 2023, the map shows where there have been the most sightings, with Japan and the U.S.'s coasts standing out as major hotspots. According to the map, UFO sighting hotspots include Nagasaki and Hiroshima in Japan, the east and west coasts of the U.S., including California and regions of the Middle East. It may surprise enthusiasts who typically identify sightings with the U.S. to learn that Japan and a region of the Middle East encompassing Iraq and Syria are hotspots for UFO sightings. The map specifically points to a region in the southwest of the nation that includes the well-known U.S. nuclear attack targets of 1945, Nagasaki and Hiroshima. The small town of Rinnomachi in Fukushima Prefecture, sometimes known as UFO Town, is another of Japan's tourist highlights. In an effort to gain attention and market itself as a home to aliens, Rinnomachi has been decorated with alien-themed ornaments. It also serves as the headquarters for the International UFO Lab, a study organization run by alien aficionado Takaharu Mikami and established in 2021. According to the Japan Times, the International UFO Lab released 6 photos in June of probable UFOs that were reportedly taken, among other places, near Kobe and Fukushima. From a total of 494 reports it received from people in Japan and abroad in a single year, they were whittled down, even though the majority appeared to be of drones, birds, or just reflections. Department of Defense officials stated last week that a website would demonstrate how dedicated the Pentagon is to transparency with the American people. It happened soon after a well-known UFO witness shocked Congress with his testimony. David Grush admitted on oath that the Pentagon has first-hand knowledge of classified government programs employing non-human technology or encounters with them. More than 30 members of the aircrew and veterans, as well as members of Congress who had confided in him, had experienced UAPs or unidentified abnormal phenomena, he told the committee. He also asserted that the government is in possession of intact and partially intact alien vehicles, although he offered no proof to back up this or any of his other claims. He asserted that the first UFO recovery occurred in Magenta, Italy, in 1933, and suggested that the American people had been kept in the dark about it for over a century. He said that it was held by Mussolini's Italian government until 1944 or 1945, when Pope Pius XIV informed the United States of its whereabouts. In response to the question of whether he was certain that the government had UAPs, Grush said, "Absolutely. What proof of the existence of aliens and UFOs might be discovered if additional records are investigated, analyzed, and declassified? That will have to wait. But judging by the past, it's obvious that researchers and UFO enthusiasts will keep looking for new data." The tremendous interest in the presence of extraterrestrial life and UFOs continues to spark intense debate throughout the world. The U.S. Space Agency's chief recently stated that NASA has appointed a new director of study into unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP, while claiming that an expert group that advocated further fact-finding on the topic had discovered no indication that these objects had an extraterrestrial origin. Without revealing the person's identity, Administrator Bill Nelson made the announcement about the new research chief after an independent panel of experts recommended in a recent report that NASA step up its efforts to gather data on UAP and play a bigger role in helping the Pentagon detect them. Nelson argued that there is little probability that extraterrestrial life has ever visited Earth. In recent years, the U.S. government has made a number of disclosures of material it has accumulated about a subject that was originally received with essentially official silence. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence and a task team under the direction of the Navy produced a watershed report in 2021 that contained multiple observations of UAP, the majority of which came from military personnel. NASA's goal is to discover the unknown. The newly appointed UAP research director is responsible for centralized communications, resources, and data analytical capabilities to develop a comprehensive database for the evaluation of future UAP. In the interim, the U.S. military has declassified, authorized the publication of, some of the data that NASA is studying. Who and what captured the footage, not what it was of, determines whether or not it is classified. For example, a picture of the Statue of Liberty taken by a fighter jet would be classified if a portion of the footage the committee receives includes good quality, reliable data. Pilot reports may be able to explain more of it. We anticipate that commercial pilots will be more eager to report odd occurrences in particular. The public conference marks an intriguing shift in NASA's approach to UFO reports. In the past, the agency's main goal was to refute claims, but today it is openly looking into reports and explaining what it discovers on live television, despite the fact that no evidence of extraterrestrial life has yet been discovered by research. There are currently no reports of UFOs or aliens, but NASA is now treating reports of UAPs extremely seriously and looks determined to comprehend them all. A detailed report with much more information and the outcomes of these investigations will be published later this year. Thanks for watching another episode of Voyager. While you're still here, make sure to click the video on your screen for more mind-blowing videos about space.